Good morning, Miss Arfilia.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Adli.
How are you today?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm good. I'm great. I'm great. Thank you so much for making the time for the meeting today.
Yeah, my place.
Yeah, as I discussed, I think it's supposed to be you from the finance department, and then Mr. Nuryadi from customer service department, and Miss Afriola. But unfortunately, both of them can't attend, so I have to do it separate meeting between amongst all of you. So today I just gonna do it with you while both of us agreed to have the meeting today. It's regarding the how to uh, provide information about performance development and manager meeting to do that. So as you aware that you are a manager in finance department in our company Gelos. One of the duty that you have to do is actually evaluate your coworker, and then if they need, we have to provide the training. So this is like a management training for you guys as a manager. So me as a human resource, I'm responsible to provide some information regarding the performance development in our company. Have you been to this kind of like a meeting before?
Pardon?
Have you been to any of a training about performance development before?
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
I
okay.
have.
Oh, okay. So, this is just another thing that there is an update in our company. So I just have to redo it again for all the manager regarding this performance development training. I would like to share because I made a PowerPoint, some outline I need to provide with you, but unfortunately I don't know how to provide it into the computer. So I just gonna send it to your email about the slide while I'm presenting regarding this, right? Okay, thank you so much again for making the today's meeting. It's about empowering line manager as a in performance development and training. Me myself is my name is Adli Kurniawan. I'm the HR manager in Galos department. So what is actually our the objective of performance development is um, we have to understand what is actually performance development process. So as a manager, you have to understand that each employee are evaluates, like in our company, we have 6 month probation period. And then after that, all the employee has to be evaluated yearly regarding their performance, their KPI, and during that meeting, normally you can also ask about like how they want to develop within the company. What can we do to develop their skill, something like that. So this is how you have to conduct it yearly based on our policy in our company. So you have to sit with your employee and evaluate their a one by one. So you have to kind of like manage the time when you have to do it. I think, for example, if you have like 20 people, you can't do it in 1 week. You have to manage the time, so it's not disrupting the company, like overflow. So it's not like everyone you have to do it one day. No, you have to like separate them. Like might be like in 1 week you do it like five, and then the next week something like that. So that's about performance development. And then what you have to do, you have to understand and monitor the individual and team performance. So you have to do it like as a team, like the Department of Finance, and then as individual. So this is the thing that you have to do based on our like a Gallows policy. And then you have to, like you can access the relevant policy and procedure and also legislation regarding this. You can access through our website about like Gallows policy, something like that. So have a look, and then I will share with you the link about the Gallows, how to access the Gallows policy and procedure, and also some legislation that might apply for the performance development process. All right. And then as a manager, you also have to understand how to asking about the KPI for sure. Like I'm aware that you as a manager of finance, you have your own KPI, the target that everyone has to achieve within like 1 year. So this KPI is a baseline for you to discuss with your coworker regarding how are they like how their performance. Are they like underperformance? If that what happened, then you have to, you know, there is a step that you have to take regarding like underperformance employee, for example, like that. And if, for example, they are achieving the target and overperforming, it's not overperforming, but what we can say probably like great achievement. So I think we have to reward them based on like the Gallows policy as well. We have like the policy regarding how to provide the rewards. So as a manager, you have to understand this. Sometimes the reward is not only about, you know, like a bonuses or money-wise or coupon, you know, but also, I mean, you can thank them like in daily basis. Just say like, hi, thank you so much for your hard work. It's really appreciated, something like that, just checking on them. So it kind of like a part of the reward as well. And then in case of like, you know, poor performance and or dispute, you have to understand how to manage the poor performance employee, so not to create any trouble. So this is about that. We're going to discuss further about this. So I mentioned before, so what is the performance development process is actually a procedure in our company to overview and monitor like each employee regarding their performance against the company KPI, code of conduct, and also, sorry, I have it here. Strategic operational plan. So based on that, this is what you have to discuss with your employee regarding, you know, how to do the performance development system. So you have to understand actually what is the goal setting when you do the performance development system. Like when you sit with the employee, then you have to, you yourself have to have the goal setting. Like you have to know, oh, this is the goal of my department, finance. This is what actually I need to evaluate for the employee. And then based on your monitor, of course, you have to monitor them based on the data. I think with the finance is very easy. Everything is monitored like in the computer. So you can monitor who's doing what are they doing, how they're doing it, you know. And then you can provide the feedback during the performance development. And then at the end, you provide the insight how they, for example, want to develop, or if they need assistance, how we can help them based on our Gallows company as well, policy, I mean. Yeah. Again, you have to link all of this. You know, you can't just do it without oversight or like research about like company strategic goal. So your monitor and performance development has to align with the company organizational strategy and culture. So research about that, and then in the link that I share with you, for example, we have our strategic operational plan, you know, like for the year 2025, 2026. So sorry, the previous one, 2024, 2025. So you have to, based on your performance development system on this company strategic goal. I think in our policy internet, we have like, you know, this kind of strategic goal that one of them is talking about performance management. So this is very important. This, we put like different kind of strategic goal in our company, and one of them is, there is a talent development event. So, you know, you can talk about like who's employee in your organization or in your department that actually has a talent to develop more, or like leadership, let's say, or, you know, like step further for them. So this kind of thing. And then the next one, I think, again, when you do the performance development procedure or like step, there is a relevant policy and procedure that you have to overlook. And all of them are actually, you can research in our policy and procedure internet, in our website. There is a couple of them that might be, or not might be, I mean, relevant to this kind of like system. First is like performance management. There is internal policy regarding this, which, as I mentioned in the strategic goal, there is a performance management system, how we conduct the performance management, and then how we can talk or discuss about this with the employee. Then also, of course, you have to based on the Fair Work Act 2009 that regarding the performance, how to deal with the performance, something like this. And another like procedure regarding this disciplinary action, like you have to document all the employee that, for example, has did something wrong in their a job. So this has to be taken. For example, regarding call sick, how we handle the call sick. People always call sick. Then how many times they do it? Do they provide, like a doctor certificate? This is kind of like disciplinary action. And also, for example, about lateness, like they're not coming on time. This is another thing that you can also has to put regarding this performance development. So all of this is actually important. And of course, when you talk about this, you have to have the documentation. You cannot just mention, oh, you always come late without providing the proof. So, I mean, we have our system like to clock in, clock out, like everyone who clock in on time, clock out on time. So this is a data that you can provide. For example, oh, this Miss A is always come late because you can see through the absentee, like the clock in or clock out system. We call it Chronos here. And of course, all of this has to be confidential and recorded. When you talk about this to the employee, you have to you can open a link in our company that you type whatever you talk with the employee, and both of you has to be agree about this. So this is regarding the record keeping. And of course, when we talk about confidentiality, this is based on Privacy Act 1988, and also our company has a privacy policy regarding this. Like you cannot publicly mention about someone's or like the performance development that you have with one person and talk about this to the other person. This has to be confidential, like individual, right? And then when it's come, for example, there is a dispute resolution, like disagreement in performance development regarding the monitor or the performance, and you can, again, back to our company policy, we have a dispute resolution, what's happening, what has to be done if there is a dispute in the performance development procedure, meeting. So when both of you disagree about something, for example, if you say this person underperformed and that person hasn't agreed, of course there is a dispute. How we can manage this? It's again, you can have a look the company policy regarding that. And then regarding that, then the step might be you have to talk about mediation, how to mediate the disagreement. Can you do both mediate yourself, or you need another third person or another party as a third person to mediate between you and the employee? Then we can provide to find the dispute resolution. And the last thing might be if, for example, there is a termination, again, our company provide that, or you can look up to the Fair Work Ombudsman, like the regulation mentioned there, and also Fair Work Act or the contract, how, in our contract, the employee contract is mentioned about the termination, like how long is the notice period if, for example, we have to terminate one employee. So we have to do it based on the legal compliance to avoid a further escalation in the future. And then I would like you to know how to using KPI and then coaching and reward. This is something that also you have to understand. When using the KPI, you have to set it clear, and measurable goal for individual and team. So all the KPI has to be measurable, and it's applied to everyone, not just, for example, 80% for this person, 70% for the other person. Everyone has to be the same KPI, not like differently within the organization or even within department. And for the person that need a coaching, how we provide the support, like address the gap. someone need to be upskilled in, for example, finance department, how we provide the coach to them, then it has to be based on the build trust and the method of the coaching. And the last thing is about the reward, how you provide the rewards, recognize achievement, and motivate the performance. As I said, for example, you just say like, thank you so much for your hard work, or might be like, we do it like employee of the month or employee of the year, something like that. And this is all based on the company, I think it sets in the, it's mentioned in our strategic goal, like strategic and operational plan of the Gallows Enterprise. It's a mention regarding the reward and recognition. The next slide I was mention is about like monitoring performance effectively. Again, when you do this, you have to do it fairly. Then, you know, like the legal that you have to mention is regarding the Fair Work Act 2009. You can make it as a like legal document, Fair Work Ombudsman. This is the resource that you can look up to. And then how to address below standard performance or underperformance. We have the step, for example, early intervention through coaching. You can provide coaching for like underperformance, approaching them, saying, oh, what aspect you need help, we can provide you like a coaching. And if, for example, there is an escalation to disciplinary act, that you have to do it based on the Fair Work Act 2009. And then, of course, all of this has to be like an importance, documentation, and fairness. Everything has to be recorded, you know, and I mean, we have our privacy policy, how do we record, how we keep the recording, like all the documentation and stuff like that. So again, this is all has to be confidential in our company. And the dispute resolution, how we handle the dispute resolution, I think based on the company policy, when we think about the dispute resolution, first, you try to manage within yourself and the employee. If this doesn't help, then you bring it to the senior management, ask them to listen what is actually their complaints. And then if, for example, the senior management cannot handle it, then we can further go to into like, you know, like a further level, which is like the manager. And if, for example, still there is no disagreement, then you can bring like independent conciliator or mediator. But we try to avoid this kind of like step. We try to minimize, you know, the dispute resolution, the dispute from the very beginning. The confidentiality is based on the Privacy Act 1988, which apply in our company in the privacy policy, the record keeping and stuff like that. I think I mentioned everything. Let me have a look again regarding how you provide this. And yes, I mentioned about the dispute resolution process. You try to do it within yourself and the employee, then we can bring up to the senior management. And then after that, if, for example, still there is no agreement, then the last resource is with the CEO. But then after, if, for example, the employee disagree, we have to bring someone else as a third party. It can be from like outside, the third party from the outside. About the mediations as well, like we have to use the independence resources from the outside. And the termination, it has to be fair and based on Fair Work Act 2009 and also the contract within the employee and the company. And the confidentiality and record keeping process in our company is based on the Privacy Act, a privacy policy which rely on the Privacy Act 1988. I think so far that's all what I have. What I hope that you understand how to provide performance development system in our company in your department of finance. Was there any question that you would like to ask regarding this?
Yeah, actually, I have a question, Mr. Adli.
Yeah, of course. Like we can discuss about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and my question is, what is the detailed steps of to evaluate the employer?
Oh, okay. How the detail to evaluate or monitor the employee, right?
Yeah.
I think I have it here. 1 second. First, you have to set the goal, like like the KPI. I mean, before you have this, I mean, the detailed step for it, you have to prepare yourself for the meeting. What the material that you have to prepare is actually employee performance, and then the KPI of your department, and also the feedback. Like you can gather the feedback from other employee or from other a coworker regarding this person that you can bring up into the meeting, for example. And then before you conduct the meeting, you have to email or like talk to the employee, like, oh, can we have an hour session on certain day that you are working? Both of you has to agree about this. Then when you have the meeting, you have to record all the all the stuff that you talk with the employee. In our website, there is a website regarding like a performance development, so you have to record all your conversation, or like all the issue that you discuss with this employee in that website. So that's as a record keeping, just in case in the future there is a disagreement. And then after that, then you provide a feedback to this employee, asking about like their development process, or like what they want to see themselves growing within the company. So this is all that you have to do. And then after that, we sit back again in the next 6 months with this employee regarding, if for example he or she need a training or further assistance, then of course you have to provide that, based on our policy in our company. Is that understood?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Clear.
Yeah,
Thank you.
all right. Thank you so much, Miss Aprilia. Again, reach me if you have any other question. I hope you can provide this kind of performance development within your Department of Finance. Okay.
So, I'm sorry, but so the KPI is really important, right?
Yeah, the KPI is very important.
I mean,
You have to set the goal of your own KPI. It's based on the strategic operation of the company, of course. I think, like you can look up how to set up the KPI in your department. And this KPI has to be discussed as well with the employee. It's not something you have to, it's something that you have to discuss with them so that everyone understand. Each department in our company has their own different KPI and the goal setting, right?
yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much, Miss Aprilia, for the time. It was nice and
Thank you so much.
to talk to you, and reach me out if you have any other question. Thank you. Have a lovely day. Thank you.